Anarthas. Number 1, Hridaya Durbhalya, defects of the heart. Number 2, Aparada, offenses. Number 3, Asat Trishna, thirst for material objects. And number 4, Tattva Vibhrama, illusion about spiritual knowledge. And we saw there are 4 Hridaya Durbhalya, defects of the heart, which are number 1, attachment to objects which have no relationship to Krishna. Number 2, the propensity to cheat and find faults. Number 3, envy. And number 4, the desire for recognition. These are the 4 defects in the heart. Now let's move on to the second one called offenses or aparada, which is also of 4 subcategories, subdivisions. Number 1, offenses against the holy name. These offenses are strictly to be avoided if we want to reawaken our pure love of Krishna. Therefore, we have dedicated a considerable part of this book to the 10 offenses and how they to be avoided. That is what we studied in the previous chapter. So the first thing on the offenses is offenses to the holy name, the 10 offenses to the holy name. Number 2, that is 2.2, offenses against the form of the Lord. This means that while worshipping the transcendental deity of the Lord in the temple, one might commit offenses by disrespect or neglect, or one negates the existence of a personal form of the Lord, like the impersonalists. There is a big list of offenses that one should avoid while doing deity worship. And that's number 2, aparada. And that list itself a big list. 2.3, or third one, offenses against the devotees of the Lord. Number 4 is quite interesting that, let's finish this. Number 4, offenses against other living entities like violence and envy. So back again. Number 1 is offenses against the holy name that we have studied extensively, 10 offenses. Number 2 is deities against the deities, the Lord in the deity form. Assuming deities are just a matter, not understanding that they are actually the Archa Vigraha, Archa Avatar, the incarnation of the Lord himself. So committing offenses, screaming in front of the deities, crying in front of the deities, showing our feet in front of the deities, not having a proper body language inside the temple room. All these things are deity offenses. And not keeping externally clean is also a big offense to go into the temple room. Again, that is a lot of information to know about the deity offenses. And the third offense is offenses against the devotees of the Lord. So one may ask a question, didn't we already cover this in the 10 offenses? To commit sinful activities on the strength. Now, what is the first one? To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Yes, it is already covered. It is said again here. That means we can understand how important it is to not offend the devotee. That's number 1 reason. Second way we can see why it's been seem to be a repetition, because the first one is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life propagating the holy name of the Lord. And as this one, it's not necessary that all the devotees are propagating the holy name of the Lord, right? There are devotees maybe engaged in different services. Therefore, irrespective of what services a devotee does, we should be careful not to offend any devotees. That's the important point over here. That's how we should understand the third point. And the fourth point, offenses against other living entities. It is not only devotees, we should also be very careful towards non-devotees, not only non-devotees, also to other living entities. We should not harm them. the ahimsa part. The real ahimsa, the meaning of ahimsa is not just killing. It's very important that we understand that part. Ahimsa, generally, we take it as harming physically or killing someone or some living entities. The real meaning of ahimsa is said by Acharya that when we create a fear in someone's heart, that means we are creating himsa. No one should be afraid of us. Um, if someone is afraid of this person is going to harm me or speak something about me, that means we are committing himsa. That's a level. So we should be careful not even to create a fear in someone's heart because of our presence or because of our interaction and dealings and so forth. So that is really called ahimsa. Not just simply being a vegetarian isn't good enough. We have to go to the next level of ahimsa. So that is the second part. I'm repeating one more time. The four aparadhas are aparadha to the holy name, number one. Number two is offense, aparadha, offense to the deities, number two. Number three, offense to the devotees. And number four, offense to all the living entities. That's the second part of Anarthas. Um, we can just stop there and see if there is any discussions, questions, realizations. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any questions or sharing of realizations?
Hey Krishna Prabhuji, if no one have questions, just wanted to hear more about uh, offenses on the deity Prabhu, because you are saying you cannot cry and all. Is it like normally while the prayers people may cry, right Prabhu? So do you think it is the offense, or is it like different type uh, the things are mentioned there?
You mean crying out of love for Krishna?
Yeah, maybe crying out of for love or crying out of pain also.
Yeah, we should not be crying. Can cry. These are all, once you become a devotee, naturally your tears comes out of ecstasy or your pure bhakti. That is all fine. But the cry when we are saying here is not going and crying loudly and taking out and all those different things. Not in You have to categorize, differentiate between the cry, that tears that comes out of hearing some kirtan. You really feel like without even you trying to cry, you don't want to cry, but the tears comes out, right? That's all different. But then going in front of the deities and hitting yourself, your chest, and crying, hitting your head, forehead, those sort of cries are not good in front of the deities, if that makes sense.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So,
Yes.
Prabhuji, my question related to offenses to all living being. So, I mean, is it something that we will discuss further, Prabhu? I mean, I will hold my questions after we read anything specific.
No, you can ask the question. That's fine.
So my question is, Prabhu, so at home, like we will see a lot of, I mean, for example, small creatures, let's say cockroaches or anything, right? I mean, we intentionally or unintentionally, I mean, we try to protect whatever the kitchen uh, situation and other things, right? We will try to offend them by just throwing it outside, or some, I mean, in the most possible cases, like maybe somehow hurting them and all. In those cases, like how to react in such situation. At the same time, I mean, so maintaining the cleanness of the kitchen or premises, and also not hurting intentionally on those creatures or very hard on those creatures or something. How to react to those situations?
So number one is first thing I could remember, reminds me is about the same question that's been asked by someone. I can't remember when Maharaj was here, Ramapada Maharaj was here. Someone asked this. I think Venu Madhuri Prabhu. I think can't remember. Maybe, yes. So he asked a similar question. As we are in this world, we harm many living entities. And Maharaj told, yes, even while they are eating, while you're drinking water, many things. Maharaj said, yes, that happens, unavoidable. But then we do everything as in the service of Krishna. That was Maharaj's response, if you remember.
Yes, yes,
I
I
think
do.
this
Mm.
happened in Atulyananda Prabhu's house.
Yes,
Maharaj response. So we have to do in a Krishna conscious way. In that mode, we have to do. So when we do those things, there is no papa or punya. It becomes under the akarma concept, akarma theory, bucket. So we're going to get to it. That's one thing you can remember Maharaj response.
okay.
Here is another additional thing. In the Shastra, there are especially the Gragastas, mostly everyone, especially the Gragastas, perform Panchasuni. There are five sins that usually every one of us does while boiling the water, while grinding something, while sweeping the floor. No one sweeps nowadays, right? So there are five different. I also have an audio on this one, but anyway, so there are five sins that we commit on a daily basis. Daily basis we commit. Therefore, the Shastra says one the Gragastas especially, they have to do Pancha Maha Yagna. There are five sins and there are five yagyas need to be performed to nullify these five sins that we do on a regular basis. Pancha Maha Yagna. Pitru Yagya, Rishi Yagya, Deva Yagya, Bhuta Yagya, Brahma Yagya. Those are the five yagyas that we have to do on a regular basis because we are not going to be free from doing these sins. We will continue doing the sins. Therefore, Shastra says, therefore, you do this Panchamahayagya on a daily basis. When you do this Panchamahayagya, the sins that we committed every day will be nullified. So, to speak about the Panchamahayagya is going to take some time. So, but I can find that audio and share it with you, with the group when I get some time. It's in the Gita Byte. I can look. What are this Panchamahayagya? How to perform this Panchamahayagya? Should devotees perform this Panchamahayagya, or because they are chanting, that's good enough? They don't need to do anything about it. That's all there in the answer. If you can give some time when I'm free. I'll try to find that link and send it if that is okay. Otherwise,
Sure, Prabhu.
that's going
Thank you,
to
Prabhu. I will also look for the recording with any. Yeah, see, Prabhu. I will find by myself. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
yeah. My only point is on this Panchamahayagya and Krishna consciousness, how to apply. That is very important. Otherwise, if you see that Prabhupada's purport in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 43rd sloka purport, I think I maybe approximately in that 40 to 43rd purport, Prabhupada says devotees doesn't need to do Panchamahayagya because they are transcended. So how to understand what Prabhupada says in that purport, who all should do, who all should not do, and how to apply in Krishna consciousness. That's very important. We should know those things. Otherwise, we may think that because I am devotee, I'm chanting, I'm already liberated, and these rules and regulations of Shastra is not for me. I don't need to do any of these things. Chanting is good enough. Yes, if you're chanting like Prahlad, like Draupadi, then we don't need to worry about any of these things. If we are not, then we have to consider, even the Samanya Dharma. Just because we are following the Vishesha Dharma, that does not mean we have to give the Samanya Dharma. The balance has to be done between Samanya Dharma and Vishesha Dharma. Both has to be performed. We have to give up Samanya Dharma only in rare cases when there is Dharma Sankat comes. Otherwise, we have to try to do both the Dharmas. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's 5:31. I would like to stop here and we can all meet again tomorrow morning at. Oh, by the way, I see Vinith has joined here. Hare Krishna.